Shalom, call Halal, YAHAWAH, Bahasham, Yahawashi. See your brother War out here from Sakari. Alright, want to give honors to the elders of Sakari, and shalom to the Akwath and the Akwathium and the Akium that are going to be watching this video. Y'all, I seen some JMS brothers post up this video, and I was gonna make a video on it, but then I seen like the actual link to it, and I got my earphones in. I don't have no speaker, so you're gonna have to just watch and take a look, because that's all you're really gonna need. But it shows that these Edomite, the archaeologists or whatever, discovered some ruins or whatever, some paintings from the ancient Egypt civilization, and they're dark-skinned people. All right. Archaeologists, he said. Let me full screen this. All right. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, man. Dark as hell. Yeah, different shades of brown. Okay, look at all the other paintings. I don't know if it's clear. I don't want to turn on the light either. But that's how you know. All right, let me get a scripture. All right. First let me get this one in Luke. I gotta get this one in Luke. It's in Luke 8:17. For nothing is secret. I don't know if y'all can see it. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Because did you know Esau has been going throughout the earth, so-called white man, and he's been covering and painting over the ancient pictures of a lot of the ancient civilizations, mainly the Egyptians. So these Edomites, these white people, have been saying they were the ancient Egyptians, even though when you read in the scriptures, the ancient Egyptians were people of color, and they were the Hamites, because they descend from Ham, and they're so-called Africans today. That's what they're labeled as. And even today, the Egyptians that are in the land of Egypt right now are the so-called ancient Egyptians from the past, because the Arabs came over and conquested the land, and they kicked out the Hamites out of the Egypt. The Arabs don't look like that. They're not that dark, right? So that's what Yahawashi was talking about. He's saying that there's nothing that is secret that shall not be made manifest, because Esau's trying to keep this a secret. He's not trying to show you the original color of the people in the past. He just set up a bunch of lies on the earth, and he's trying to hide himself, saying he's everything. Esau's saying he's the Egyptian, he's the Jews, right? They're the Grecians, the Romans. Esau's saying he's everything under the sun except the Edomite, right? So this is Luke 12:2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So these things are being made known in the last days, because Esau didn't lie so much. Like you can't just cover up every single lie. So it's going to be made manifest. So let's say through the Spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. There's a well-preserved tomb. See, look at that. Well, let me try and go back. You see that? Esau didn't get to come up in this and paint over the images. So the colors are well preserved inside the tomb. Even not, aside from the colors of the people, sure that those are Hamites, the people called Africans. They ain't living in Egypt right now because they've been misplaced. But look at all the things around it, and then you can see even more people on the walls. All these are dark-skinned people. So the white man can't lie and say he's the Egyptians. He was the ancient Egyptians anymore. Look at that. All right. So that's all you see. Look at all those people on the walls, man. All dark skin. You don't see one person with red on their flesh at all. They're looking red, looking like a so-called white man. Okay, so one of the comments I read is that where is it? So it says Winston Wirt. Now it should be undoubtedly clear the Egyptians, the builders of the pyramids, were black people. No, the people who built the pyramids were, so-called dark-skinned people. The Egyptians were also dark people, but the ones who were building it, being slaves, were the Israelites. Right? Let me get it. This one in Acts 21. Is it 21? Yes, 21 and 39, verse 38. Okay. Acts 21 and 37 we'll start at. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days made an uproar and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul answered, and this is what Paul said, verse 39, but Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus. So Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian, which, the Egyptians were dark-skinned nation people. They were Hamites. Right? People say black people look like Africans all the time. So I don't think we look alike. I think most of us don't really look alike. We just look similar just because we got dark skin. We got our skin complexion is a lot brighter and more vibrant and ruddy than the so-called Africans. They're more like dirty and just straight black. They don't got that vibrant complexion that we got. Right? Your skin's hella more dry or rough. Okay, but I can understand when people mistake us for them, right? But this is what the lie that Esau's put. He just said we were Africans, because they picked up the southern kingdom from the west coast of Africa, the southern kingdom of Israel. So they just said Esau just trying to make a lie, say, oh, they're just Africans, just grouped us in with a bunch of Hamites, and says, don't worry about it. Esau don't even call themselves Jews. They just call themselves Jewish. Right, but Paul says he's a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. So Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Right, and this was before 70 AD, which the Egyptians at that time were still Hamites living in their land, because the Arabs didn't come in until around the 600 AD. Right. A little bit after the fall of the Romans' power structure, the fourth beast on the earth. Okay, now let me get in Exodus. Okay, because they didn't go into details in the paintings that were on there. For all the people there's some of them could have been Israelites. They're seeing some people like look like they were picking up stuff. They could have been Israelites. Okay, this is Exodus. So I don't want this one. I want the one with the Moses. Where is it? Alright, and it says, so let's hold on, let me get Exodus 2 and 1. And this is the birth of Moses speaking about, and it says, there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi. So this is Moses was a Levite because his father was a Levite, and his mother was a Levite. Right? So let's go to verse 4. With the daughter of Midians. Okay, and it says, verse. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here it is. Alright, let's start at Exodus 2 and 2:15. And when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well, because Moses killed one of the Egyptians that was smiting his brothers, the Hebrews, right? Verse 16, now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. Now is Moses an Egyptian, or is Moses a Hebrew? Or is Moses an Israelite from the tribe of Levi? See, but the daughters of Midian mistook Moses for being an Egyptian because Moses looked exactly like the Egyptians. Right? Well, not say he looked exactly like, they just look similar. Right? It even says in verse 2 and 13. And when he went out the second day, speaking about Moses, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him, what did thou wrong? Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? Right? So Moses' brethren was the Hebrews. Or actually, you could look at verse 11. Look, it says, and it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. So the Hebrews was one of his brethren. Right? So the Hebrews and the Egyptians are not the same people. Right? But the daughters of Midian mistook Moses for being an Egyptian. It says, what is it? An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds. But no, it says that and the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. Moses is a Levite. Okay, so it goes to show you that the Egyptians and the Israelites are both a nation of people that had dark skin, right? Verse Exodus 4 and 6. And the Most High said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. Right? So Moses put his hand in his bosom, and he took it out. It became leprous as snow. It looked white. And when he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again, and he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again to its other flesh. Now, knowing that the Egyptians were people that would look like this, and Moses' skin was previously didn't look white and leprous, right? Moses had to be a dark-skinned man, right? It gives you his description of how Moses' skin color was. He's dark-skinned. This is what the Most High says. This is Exodus 11 and 7. Okay. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast. The dog is the heathen, that ye may know how that the Most High YAHAWAH doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. Because, yeah, we do look similar. We both have dark skin and got the same hair type. But there's a difference between us. Right? As for example, like when the Hebrews, the Egyptian woman was speaking about the Hebrew woman, it said, Verse 9, Exodus 1 and 19. And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, right? For they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Right? So even the Egyptian woman said that the women of the Hebrews are more lively than the Egyptian woman. You know, that's how our women are. They're lively and they're kind of ratchet now and out of order. We got taking it too far. But there's a difference between us, even though we're both dark nations, a dark nation of people. We're not the same people, but we're both dark nations. Because the Egyptians come from Ham, and the Israelites come from Shem. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't really got nothing else to say. You know, that's all I really wanted to get on that. But it goes to show you that, man, the ancient Egyptians were a dark-skinned nation of people, and so were the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, and yeah, man, I got more scriptures to get. So with that, I want to say, YAHAWAH, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Shalom.